How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
How are you, Kavya? Is it still cold out there?
Yeah.
It is. Okay, I want to see your full faces. Why do I only see your eyes? Like,
My full face is look up
can you
can be
turn on
seen.
your, like, move your camera a bit so I can see all the way up to your chin? Okay, good. Kavya, same for you,
Jai
okay?
Jinendra.
Jai Jinan. Thank you, beta.
Jai
Yes.
Jinend.
Jai Jinan Vivan. Thank you for joining right on time.
Jai
Okay.
Jinend.
Jai Jinan, beta. Okay, so let's first do the Namokar mantra and then we'll get going. Namo Arihantanam,
Taram
Namo
Santaram
Siddhanam,
Namo
Namo Ayaryanam, Namo Uvajhayam,
Charam
Namo Loe Savasahunam,
Savam
Aiso Panchanamo
Pancham
Yaro, Sava
Pawa
Pavakyanashano,
Puriksaro Mangam
Mangalanam Cha
Chastasi
Sarvesim, Padhamam Bhavai Mangalam.
Jai
Jai Jinan bachon.
Jinend.
Jai
Jai
Jinan.
Jinend.
Perfect. I think we have a good quorum today. We have a good, starting point. I see lots of faces out there today, which is great. Maulik, can you please turn on your camera as well? So let's do one thing, okay? Before I do that, okay, Maulik, could you please turn on your camera? Can you hear me, Maulik? Okay, okay, we'll wait for a few. Acha, bacho, I was running late because I was driving back from a ski resort up in North Arizona and there was some traffic buildup. So I thought I'll be not reaching in time, but fortunately I took a detour and I kind of made it on time. I was about before 6, like 6:15 my time, which is 8:15 Eastern time. So I'm happy for that. Okay, so Maulik, are you there? I cannot hear you. Can you type on? So I know you are able to hear me out, else we have something going on there. Okay, what's going on? Ask to start video, ask to unmute. I've tried both the things. Okay, no worries. ठीक है. So, बच्चों, today we are going to continue on our topic for Jeev. है ना? So, first and foremost, who can help me in understanding what a Jeev is? Thank you, Maulik. Now I can see you. There is a slight obstruction in your camera view, but that
Yeah,
could be
hello, sorry, I was doing something else. I
okay.
didn't set it up.
That's why. Yes. Now you are, if you can sit, yes. So, first thing first, whenever we are doing lessons, either we should sit on a chair or we should sit on the ground, most preferably on the ground. If it's a chair, that's awesome. Definitely not on a sofa. Okay. And sometimes we don't know what kind of sofa it is. है ना? It could be a leather sofa. Some people have that in their homes. I don't, but some people have. So it's not a good practice, right? Whenever we are doing dharma practice, we should not be sitting on a sofa. We should be always in an attention, है ना? वरना क्या होता है बेटा respect जाती है for the this is not like gathering any kind of information, right? This is Jain dharma that we are learning, है ना? So we have to be mindful of that. Give me a second. I'm trying to do something here. Yes. Samyak, can you move your face a little bit up so I can see you 100%? Thank you, beta. Yes, perfect. Okay. I took a picture of you all. We have a good class today. Okay. Now I'm going to share the screen again. But before that, let me ask you a question. Who is going to explain Jeev to me? What's a Jeev? Go ahead, Molly.
It's like a living soul or a body who
Okay.
has like senses and actually exists.
Okay, that's a good one. So, are you a jeev? Who's going to answer that?
We are jeeves.
We are jeevs, yes.
Anything that can reproduce is a jeeve. Anything that it falls into the category of living is a jeeve.
Perfect. So we are a jeev. So Vikyat, you have to raise your hand before you answer, right? Because who knows, I was about to ask this question to Aviral, right? You have to give him chance as well. So you have to raise your hand before you start answering. That way we can maintain some interactivity in the class. Make sense? Okay. So yes, you are right, Vikyat. Jeeves are one. Anything living is a jeev around us, right? So now let me ask you this. Is this Jinwani a jeev?
No.
Aviral, is this Jinwani a jeev?
No.
No. Okay. Am I a jeev?
Yes.
Okay. How about Vivan? Is Vivan a jeev?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. How about Kavya? Is Kavya jeev? Okay, maybe Kavya, you're unmuting, but your voice is not coming through, but the message. You are a jeev, right? Can you do a thumbs up? Okay, perfect. But then the question is, am I this body or am I something else? Have you ever thought, Samyak, are you this body or are you something else?
I'm an Atma.
You are an Atma, right? Okay, what is the relationship between Atma and Jeev? They sound to be two different words. Who's going to tell me? What's an Atma? What is a Jeev? Vikyat, go ahead.
So, jeev is like living and Atma is not like not living.
Okay. How about Aviral? Do you know what is an Atma versus a Jeev?
Atma resides in Jeev.
Okay, okay. Samyak, you said Atma. Do you want to explain what is Atma versus a Jeev?
An Atma is what makes a Jeev.
अच्छा, देखो इसको मैं ऐसे समझाता हूँ. Okay, Atma and Jeev are one and the same thing. Okay, so Atma doesn't make Jeev and Jeev doesn't make Atma. They are just like sort of synonyms, but sometimes the best way to differentiate between, if there is a difference, the difference is from the perspective of the singular versus plural, right? So when I say, who am I say I am an Atma, right? But when I'm talking about it as a collective, as a plural, then I say I'm a Jeev, like any other Jeev. है ना? But if you look at it, Atma and Jeev are one and the same thing. Okay? है ना? जब हम singular tone में बात करेंगे, right? Then we will use the word Atma. When we are talking in as a collective, right? All living beings, all living souls, that's a Jeev. Make sense? So Jeev is more a category, or Jeev is collection of many Atmas together. Am I making sense? Right?
Yeah.
So if I ask you, who are you? And somebody says Atma, my answer will be yes. If you say Jeev, my answer again will be a yes. Because they are same thing. There is a subtle difference that we learned later, right? Every Atma is unique and independent on its own. But that's for later. Abhi ke liye, Atma and Jeev are same things. ठीक है विख्यात? So Atma is also living and Jeev is also living. Make sense? Vikyat?
It makes sense.
Yes. And that's the right answer. Okay. So if somebody asks you what is difference between Atma and Jeev, the answer is there is no difference as such. It's just that Atma is one unique, while Jeev is a collection of many Atmas. That's all. They are same thing. Okay? And that way they are both living. Anything which is living is an Atma. Right?
Anything living is also a jeev.
And anything living is also a Jeev. Exactly. They are same. They are synonymous. They are synonyms. Okay? Make sense? Okay. Now let's keep going on this. So that's about Jeev. Now, next thing about Jeevs is there are different Jeevs are all Jeevs are born in 4 gatis. है ना? 4 गति में जीव जन्म लेते हैं. Right? They could be either in the Manushya Gati, they could be in the Tiryanch Gati, they could be in the Dev Gati or in the Narki Gati. So that's one way of classifying jeeves. Okay? So what is the way of classifying, Vivan? One way of classifying jeeves is they are born in, they take their life form in 4 types, 4 categories. Okay? Okay, so that's one. Yeah, go ahead, Maulik. What's your question? You are on mute. You are on mute, Raja.
Oh, sorry. So if you have Keval Gyan and you reach moksha, you're not a jeev anymore?
Very good question. You are still a jeev, but there is, I think I missed a block in between, which kind of you are getting me to. The best way to classify jeeves are, there are 2 types of jeeves, okay? Sansari jeev and Mukt jeev, right? Sansari jeeves are then broadly classified into the 4 categories that I have given to you. ठीक है ना? While the Mukt jeeves are those souls, those atmas that have reached the Siddha Dasha. Make sense, Maulik? ठीक है ना? So yes, if somebody asks you, are the Siddha, the souls in Siddha Gati, are they also jeeves? The answer is yes, they are also jeeves. है ना? But they are what we consider as Mukt jeev, the independent souls, the free souls. They are not on the cycle of life and birth like our
They don't have a
self.
body?
They don't have a body, exactly. They are free from any kind of karma, any kind of karma bandh. Having a body is also a karma bandh. You get a body based on your past good or bad karma. है ना? Based on your past good and bad karma, you get some bondages, and those bondages define your body, the structure that you get, and for how long you will be with that structure. Like we all, our soul, if I talk it from the perspective of soul, not as Gaurav Jain, if I talk about myself from the perspective of a soul, right, a nameless soul, a unique soul, Atma that is, then I have been in all the gatis except Siddha Gati so far. Once upon a time, I would have been a Nigodhya Jeev. Once upon a time, I would have been a Dev. Once upon a time, I would have been a rich man, born to a very great family. Once upon a time, I may have been a Narki Jeev also, right? Going through the pains of Naraklok, right? Other times, I may have been a lion. Who knows? I might have been a crocodile. I might have been an ant, right? So every soul has been cycling through these different life forms based upon their karma, and it's all the choices that you make in that particular life that defines your next life, and so forth. ठीक है ना? But before we go there, coming back to the topic, right? So we are talking about now jeeves. So when we talk about jeev, generally speaking, the jeeves are, there is a way of classifying them. And that classification is Thawar Jeev versus Tras Jeev. Have you ever heard of the terms Thawar Jeev? Or let me translate it into loose English. Motile and immotile Jeevs. Have you ever heard of these? Thawar Jeev and
Mortal or
Tras Jeev. Ha, Maulik, go ahead.
mortal? Would you say mortal?
I said motile.
Oh, motile.
Motile, yes. Let me write it down. Some people say mobile, I will say motile, okay? Versus immotile. How about that? Have you ever heard of this? Tras versus Thawar. Huh. Maulik, batao.
And you also reminded me about immobile. It means that you're like still.
Yes,
You don't
mobile
move.
means you are moving. Immobile means you are still, right? So can you give me an example, Maulik, of a motile jeev or a sthawar jeev?
A tree.
A tree, exactly. Who here doesn't believe that a tree has a life, has soul? Raise hand if you don't believe a tree has a has a soul. Okay,
It's a
nobody raised a
kindergarten.
hand, which is great. Good, right? So trees have a soul, and trees are stationary. है ना? So they are not moving. And the term used in our text, in our agam, for such jeeves is thavar jeev. What is the term?
Star.
Thavar jeev. है ना? I am writing it down in the chat also if you want to catch the word. Okay. The other broad category of jeeves, which are not stationary but rather moving in some way or form, are tras jeev. Who can give me examples of some tras jeeves? Okay, Kavya, can you give me an example of a tras jeev based on the definition I provided? Kavya, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, please, beta.
Um.
Example of a non-stationary jeev.
A human.
Exactly, a human, best and simplest example, right? Humans can basically generally move. There are, of course, some humans who are born with no legs and hands, and they cannot move, but still they are mobile. They can move, right? In some way or other. है ना? Another example could be as small as an ant, or for that matter, a bacteria, if it's moving from one place to another, right? It could be a lion, it could be a tiger, any animal that you can think of. है ना? So go ahead, Malik. You have a question?
I just wondering, there's a scientific debate if viruses are living or not. So what does Jainism say about them being
That's a
jeeves?
good one. That's a very good one. I thought I had an answer. While the verdict is not out in the Western sciences about viruses, right? But we consider them as a type of, I think, a Nigodia jeev. They are very like on the boundary case between living and non-living. But they still have, when they are out of their dormancy, they have something there. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So now let me take you to the actual story, and give me a second. Let me share my screen now. Okay. And we'll go through this video and then we'll do more conversation. How about that? Okay. Okay. Vikyat, are you back? Are you there? I don't see you.
I'm here.
Okay. You are not doing texting on your phone, right?
I don't have a phone.
Okay, perfect. Good. I don't see your face, so I'm just checking.
Right here, let me bring it closer.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let me now turn on the video.
Gentlemen kids, do you remember the five senses video in which we learned about the five senses present in our body? Now here's an interesting fact for you. Do you know that some living organisms don't have all five senses? Some have four, some have three, and some have two senses. And such organisms are called Trasjeev in Hindi. What are they called?
Excuse me.
Correct. So Trasjeev, what are these?
Sorry, beta. Am I audible? Is the video audible to you?
Like barely. I kind of hear like like that. Like
Okay,
blah
wait
blah
a
blah.
sec. Let me try it out again. Okay.
Might be just me, but
Let me try it. How about other guys? Samyak, can you hear the video? Okay.
Yeah, but it's like the sound is very low, so it's same for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let me
same.
turn it on again. Let me see what's going on. I have shared the sound. Okay. This view. I'm trying to share it again. Okay, give me a second. Okay.
Trust organisms. So all the organisms.
You hear it now?
yeah, it's better. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. Let me
Thanks.
run it from the beginning. Okay.
Thanks.
The five senses video in which we learnt about the five senses present in our body. Now here's an interesting fact for you. Do you know that some living organisms don't have all five senses? Some have four, some have three,
and some have 2 senses, and such organisms are called trasjeev in Hindi. What are they called? Trasjeev. Correct. So trasjeev. What are these trus organisms? So all the organisms which have 2 to 5 senses except human beings are known as trasjeevs. Generally, these organisms have the ability to move by themselves. So, the first trasjeev category is living beings with 5 senses. For example, have you seen an elephant? It has all the 5 senses.
Yeah, we
Big,
have.
joint ears to listen, long nose or trunk to smell, eyes to see, tongue to taste, and a huge body covered with grey skin for the sense of touch. Similarly, a fish too has 5 senses. It can also listen, see, etc. Birds like pigeons, peacocks, and animals like elephants, horses, fishes, lions, etc. all have 5 senses. There are some 5-sensed organisms who have man, through which they can think and learn things, just as you can learn and understand from this video. It is possible only because of their man, and these 5-sensed organisms are called Seni Panchendri, meaning 5-sensed vertebrate. Some 5-sensed organisms, such as some water snakes and some special parrots who don't have man, are called Aseni Panchendriya Jeev. They have touch, taste, smell, and sight senses. All the flies, butterflies, bees, mosquitoes, and all other small insects which can fly, they are all 4-sense living beings. So, can you tell me which sensory organ do these 4-sensed beings miss? Come on.
So who is going to give me the answer for the question just asked? What is that one sense that's missing in a 4-sense organism? Who can give me an intelligent guess answer on this? Maulik, before I ask you, let me check with. Okay, Vikhyat, how about you? Why don't you go ahead?
My intelligent guess is
Did you raise the hand before you even knew the answer?
no. I'm considering my. I knew the answer is probably. The one is the sense that it doesn't that they don't have is taste.
Okay. No.
It's like because it's like they have to just survive by food there.
No, that's not the answer. I'll tell you what is the best way to remember that. But before that, let me ask Maulik. Go ahead,
I
Maulik.
thought it just depended by organism.
No, that's not even right. That's not even right. Do you remember once I had taught you about this technique? Samyak, go ahead.
Touch.
Hearing.
Hearing is the right answer, Samyak. Perfect answer, okay? You know that technique, you remember that? I had taught you. How do you remember the 5 senses? Touch, taste, smell, seeing, and hearing. It goes like this, right? So the best way to remember, 5-sense organisms have all of them. 4-sense have hearing missing. There's no hearing with them. Okay? 3-sense don't have hearing and seeing, but they do have smell, taste, and touch. That's how you go down, right? So you remember the names like with your face from the chin up, right? Touch, taste, smell, seeing, and hearing. And you take them down one after the other. Make sense? Maulik? Make sense, Vikhyat?
Yeah.
Right? So the sense missing for a 4-sense organism is actually hearing. It does not depend. That's how in Jainism we define it. Right? So the 4-sense organisms, they don't have hearing ability. Now, they may have some other kind of sensory ability, right? but it's not necessarily hearing. They cannot hear sounds. They may be able to feel the vibrations on their skin or some organism or some organ, but that's not necessarily hearing. Make sense? Okay, so that's the answer. Now let's go forward.
Quickly, think and tell me. Okay, so have you ever called out to a butterfly or a mosquito? Did they listen to you? No, right? That's because they don't have ears to listen and understand. Butterflies have beautiful eyes. They even have a nose. They can even taste. That's why they extract the nectar from flowers to taste. They also have a sense of touch. They too feel cold and hot. Friends, flies are so small and tiny. Whenever these flies, mosquitoes feel hungry, sometimes they stick to dirty things or sweets and cannot fly from there and they die. Or sometimes they move to flowers and in the evening or after sunset, when the flower folds and rests its petals, then these get themselves locked in the flowers. Or sometimes they bite us too and then by mistake they get killed. The poor little creatures die. Why? Because they don't have the power to understand. Is such a life good? We should understand that our life is very good, since we can not only think good things, we can also do them. As soon as our life gets in danger, we can use self-defense. Now, the living beings with three senses, which have the sense of touch, taste and smell. They are called Teen Indriya Jeev, meaning three-sensed beings like ants, scorpions, bedbugs, etc. Good. Now tell me, which senses they do not have? So
They definitely don't have they don't have touch. I mean hearing. They don't have like the touch.
Okay, Vikyat, you are not paying attention. I had just told you about this, right? Aviral, you want to answer? I just gave the answer when I was
Yeah,
explaining
it's ears and eyes.
ears and eyes, right? That is the sense of hearing and sense of seeing. You go down, right? Touch is the last one. If there is no sense of touch, then it's not even a living being. Okay, it's sense of touch is the most elementary of the senses that even the ekendriya jeeves have. One indriya jeev have, one sense or organisms have. And that's the last one to go. If a thing does not have sense of touch, that means it's not even living. It's in the category of ajeevs. Okay, make sense? So it goes like that, Vikhyat. Hai na? Again, I'm telling you, hearing, how do you remember the five senses? Touch, taste, smell. I'm showing it on my, if you are paying attention.
So it's like in the order?
Yes, it has to be in order. Everything has to be in order. Okay?
It means two senses have touch
Touch,
and taste.
taste, smell, seeing, and hearing. That's how it goes, right? So five Indriya Jeevs have all the five. Four Indriya Jeevs have the hearing missing. Then the three Indriya Jeevs have hearing and seeing missing, and so on and so forth. Okay?
So I have one question.
Yes,
For
beta.
people
Go ahead.
who are supposed deaf or who are deaf and blind, will they be considered as
Very good question. Very good question.
like Char Indriya or Teen Indriya Jeev?
Nahi, nahi. Very good question. So we limit it to human beings. Hai na? We are not talking about other jeeves. I think your question is more set about a human being who is missing, let's say, who is a blind or a deaf.
Yeah.
Would you consider them as a four Indriya Jeev or a three Indriya Jeev? Okay. Now, that as per our Shastra, our senses are twofold. One, that you see outward. Hai na? But then there is a connectivity of that sense into the brain. There is a positioning of that sensory organ within your brain also, right? If you would have read human sciences, biology, you would have seen that in brain in particular, you would have seen there is a portion in our brain, like somewhere here,
Mm-hmm.
in the medulla or whatever they call this portion, which controls our sensory organs. All the
Yeah.
signals that your eye captures actually goes there and get
Mm.
processed. Same way, the signals from your ear, the external ear, goes through a network of fibers into a part of brain where they get processed. Right? Now, take that knowledge into consideration and think about it, that a deaf guy or a blind guy may not be having the optical part of their organ, but still the internal organ is yet there.
Mm.
Right? So that way, they are also considered five sensory organs. We are, at your level, you all are like teenagers now, so you have a better understanding of things, correct? The best way to capture this is, when I'm talking about a sensory organ, we are not just talking about what is appearing outward. We are also talking about the connectivity of it to the brain, the process,
Mm.
the organ that controls, or processes those signals.
Mm.
ठीक है ना? So
Yeah.
that application, that point applied, they may not be having some, like there are different reasons for blindness. Some people don't have the pupil, or they have broken optical nerves. There are so many different things. But
Right.
ultimately, there is one part of this organ system which is yet there. It's just that because of whatever reason, that connectivity is broken.
Mm.
So we cannot say, that's why we don't say that, hey, they are not five sense organ. They are, of course, five sense organ. And you would notice that they have different way of processing information, right?
Yeah.
I have seen in my life growing up, there were these blind people who had their other organs were super developed.
Yeah.
Right? There is always one thing missing, but that's compensated by other thing.
Yeah.
Their sense of touch is always awesome, right? That's why, like, I always try to learn Braille, but I always fail because to me, they feel like dots, dots, dots. But for a blind person, that's their way of processing in the information. Correct? So
Yeah.
that said, right, everything applied, and humans have one more special thing on top of these five things, five senses. And that is the power of the general power of cognizance, the power of application to distinguish between right and wrong for themselves and for the others. Right? That is always there.
Mm.
Make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
But great question. Great question. I mean, this is one of the questions which shows me that you are trying to use the information in the right way. Perfect. Great job, Aviral. Okay, so we'll keep going. We are at three indriya jeevs, right? Three senses, which is touch, taste, and smell. These are the three senses present in ants, scorpion, and bees. And not bees, bed bugs, sorry. Okay?
Oh, they do not have sense of hearing and sight, but yet they have eyes and we can see their eyes too. But these eyes we see are compound eyes which prevent them from seeing properly. Therefore, they cannot be counted as sensory organs. Only by smelling with the help of their antenna, they can reach their food. Do you know how ants carry food in their small mouth? And sometimes if we walk without looking on the ground, they get crushed under our feet and die. Sometimes we use All Out and Good Night, Mortein or DDT spray to get rid of insects and cockroaches too. All of these kill them. The life of all these creatures is also in extreme danger all the time. Sometimes my heart fills with so much pity and sympathy for these small beings who are not able to save their own lives. Next comes living beings with two sensory organs. Those who are able to touch and taste are called Doindriya Jeev, two-sensed beings, like worms, caterpillars, etc. So you saw worms or caterpillars and how they crawl softly? In the rainy season, the poor creatures sometimes die under a vehicle, on the road, and sometimes under our feet. Sometimes when it moves on plants or leaves, it falls down from there and dies. Actually, we should be very proud and feel very lucky, since because of our good deeds in the past, we have been blessed with all the five senses, and we are Seni Panchendriya Jeev. That is, we have man. Don't you think we should make use of it in a meaningful way? So let's repeat what we learned today. We learned Thrus Jeeves, who are the living beings who have 2, 3, 4 or 5 senses. Seni Panchendriya Jeev, living beings with 5 senses and can think. Aseni Panchendriya Jeev, living beings with 5 senses but they can't think. You will remember these, right? Jai Jinendra.
Okay, guys. Good lesson, right? Makes sense?
Yes.
Any questions on this lecture? So one thing I'll tell you, right? So out of these 5 sense organs, organisms or 5 sensory worldly beings, let me tell you one thing, okay? Out of them, which type of jeeves are considered as thrust jeeves? Who is going to tell me?
Everything living.
नहीं 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 नहीं. Who is going to tell me? त्रस्त जीव, क्योंकि ये स्टार्ट से एंड तक यही लेक्चर में था, समरी में भी बताया. ओके, इट वाज देयर इन द समरी आल्सो. Who are thrust jeeves? Okay, let me ask it differently. Are one sense organisms or organisms considered as thrust jeeves? Are one sense organisms considered as thrust jeeves? Samyak, what do you think? Speak up. I see you nodding like Indian head nod, so that means a no. Okay, I got that. Kavya, how about you? Are one sensory organisms considered as thrust jeev? Yes or no answer? Kavya? I cannot hear you, beta.
Hello.
Yes, now I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes.
Voice is kind of not coming through somehow. Okay, can you say thumbs up or thumbs down? Are one sense organs considered as thrust jeeves? Okay, so I have one person saying no, they are not considered. The other person saying no, yes, they are considered as thrust jeeves. How about you, Vivan?
Yeah.
Okay. I think you guys were not paying attention to the video, or it was not, well, it was in English, right? So it was not in Hindi, right? Okay. How about you, Vikyat?
They are thrust jeeves.
Okay. One sense organisms are thrust jeeves, you think?
Yeah.
Okay. How about you, Aviral?
No.
Okay. How about you, Maulik?
Oh, because you said thrust jeeves are mobile and non-thrust jeeves would be immobile, so one sense.
Okay. So one sense organisms are thrust jeeves or not?
Not.
Perfect. So whoever said not, that's the right answer. One sense organisms are not thrust jeev. Let me just go back a few seconds on this video. Okay, and then you will see in the summary again this was said.
In a meaningful way. So let's repeat what we learned today. We learned Thrust Jeeves, who are the living beings who have 2, 3, 4 or 5 senses.
Got that? 2, 3 or 5, 4 or 5 senses. They are considered thrust jeeves. Okay, not the one sense organ jeeves. ठीक है विख्यात?
Okay.
Next time you have to pay attention. I didn't ask a out of syllabus question. It was explained through and through in the lecture, right, Samyak?
Mhm.
Right? Vivan, are you paying attention? Okay. Next time I want you guys to be more attentive. Okay. Maulik, do you have a question?
Oh no, no
Okay.
question.
Okay. Chalo. So that's what this lecture is about. Trust Jeeves. Okay. Now let's go. Let's check what is the next one. There is one more. As I promised, you guys are grown up, so I wanted you to at least go through 2 videos. They may not be related topics. Looks like they are not. So let's see what this is about. Okay, who here knows what an erg is? Or where is it used? Erg. Okay, Maulik, you know about erg. How about you, Aviral? Have you ever heard the word erg or erg? People say it in
Haji.
very different tones. Huh, beta?
Yeah. In puja,
Perfect. You have heard about erg in puja. Very good. Anybody else? Who goes to temple every now and then? Raise your hands. Kavya does. Maulik does. How about you, Aviral? Do you go? Do you get to chance to
no,
go
I
to
am
temple?
I am in Albuquerque, New Mexico. There is the nearest temple is in Phoenix.
Oh yes, and I am in Phoenix.
Okay, great. So yeah,
Oh,
last time I visited was on Diwali.
oh nice. Next
Yeah,
time when you visit, let me know, okay? So
sure.
we can connect. And you know what? I was in Flagstaff just couple of hours back, and we were just when we were taking the highway, the freeway there goes to Albuquerque, I
Oh,
40. And we
nice,
were just
nice.
talking. We don't know anybody in Albuquerque. Do we know anybody in Albuquerque? That's what me and my wife Neelu auntie was talking. And we said, no,
Yeah.
we don't know anybody who lives in Albuquerque.
So
It's
actually, last time I hopped into the session which was taken by Neelu auntie only, and she told me that you should attend this one.
okay, beta. Good, good. Oh, great. Glad to find you here. And that's what we were talking. So it's our karma, right? We were just now
Yeah.
I know at least one person who lives in Albuquerque.
Yeah, and
Nice.
also the Indian community here is very less so.
Oh, of course. It's
Yes.
a it's a very different space.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. But you can go to either Denver or you can come to Phoenix, right? Same
exactly.
distance, perhaps.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, good to know that. Okay. Yes. So whoever goes to temple, Vikyat, do you happen to go to temple?
Yeah, every so and so. We used to go much more often, like when we were
Okay.
in India, but we still go every so and so because it's like an hour away. That's
Ah,
part of the
okay.
reason we don't go that often.
I see. I see. You should, whenever you get a chance, you should visit temple. And in temple, we use argya. Whenever we are doing pujas, we use argya. है ना? So this video is about argya. And there is, in Digambar tradition and Shwetambar tradition, both tradition, there is a concept of argya. Argya is like, it's a vehicle. It's not what we offer to the gods because that's not what Jainism believes in, right? Jainism is not about offering made to the god. It's just about bringing our thoughts together and using these erg as a vehicle to basically organize our thoughts around a concept. That's what they are about. Okay, so that's what erg is about. Let me play the video now, and then we'll review it after the class. But I want you guys, Vivan, I want you to pay attention. Okay, I'm going to ask question this time, and I would expect you to answer them properly. So don't look around, don't do anything. And if you can sit down or sit on a chair, I would recommend that. You are sitting on a sofa. I can see that, right? Sofa is not a good place. Okay? Can you move? Because that sofa could be made of, as I said, right? It could be leather. I don't know. And we don't learn Jainism while sitting on a leather chair. Okay? Can you move? Okay. Let me play the video in the meantime. Okay.
Offered at God's feet. Let's learn about Arg today. Okay, tell me how many of you know what is Arg? Right. Whenever we visit temple, after reciting Namokar Mantra, Mangal Path, what do we say? Arg of the Tirthankar god present there. So let's understand the meaning of Arg now. While worshipping God, we offer Ashtadravya. Ashta means 8 and Dravya means the elements that we are offering at God's feet. The elements are Jal, Chandan, Akshat, Pushpa, Naivedya, Deep, Dhoop, Phal. And we offer these elements in this very particular order. And when these elements are mixed together and are offered at God's feet, that is called Arg. We dedicate them at the feet of God to show our reverence and gratitude towards Him. Let's understand why do we offer Arg to Tirthankar Bhagwan. First is Jal. You have won over the cycle of life and death, and therefore I am offering Jal to such great Jainendra Bhagwan. Second is Chandan. You have destroyed the anger all over the world. Hence I offer Chandan in your feet. Third is Akshat. You have achieved the non-destructible treasure of joy, and therefore I offer Akshat in your feet. Fourth is Pushpa. You have destroyed greed and darkness, so I offer Pushpa in your feet. Fifth is Naivedya. I offer Naivedya in your feet because you have ended the hunger. Sixth is Deep. I offer Deep in your feet because you have destroyed the darkness of delusions. Seventh is Dhoop. I offer Dhoop in your feet because you have destroyed the Ashtakarma. Eighth is Phal. I offer Phal in your feet because you have achieved the liberation of your soul. And finally, Arg. I offer Arg in your feet because you have achieved the highest and everlasting happiness, that is moksha. So, when we do Bhagwan Puja with immense gratitude and devotion with Ashtadravya, we eventually are opening doors for making ourselves Siddha Bhagwan. And if we worship such Jainendra Bhagwan and follow the path shown by him, then automatically we will be like him. Right? So, now let us read and understand some Tirthankar god Arg today. First is Adinath Bhagwan. Adinath Bhagwan's Arg. Shuchi Nirmal Neeram Gandh Suakshat Pushp Charule Man Harshai दीप धूप फल अर्घ सुलेकर नाचत ताल मृदंग बजाए श्री आदिनाथ जी के चरण कमल पर बलि बलि जाऊं मन वचकाय हे करुणानिधि भव दुख मेटो या ते में पूजो प्रभु पाए ओम ह्रीं श्री आदिनाथ जिनेन्द्राय अनर्घ पद प्राप्ताय अर्घम निर्पामति स्वाहा.
Okay, who has heard this Arg of Adinath Bhagwan? Have you ever recited this Arg? Raise your hands if you have. Maulik, you have. Perfect. Aviral has. Great. Who else? If you go to temple, you get the opportunity. Hai na? So, whenever you go to temple, whenever you are in front of Adinath Bhagwan, there are other Args of Adinath Bhagwan as well, but this is perhaps the most popular. There are others too. So I would not say this is the only one, but this is just a, when you are in front of Adinath Bhagwan's idol and you are want to showcase your obeisance, what will you do? You will make and do Navkar Mantra. But beyond Namokar Mantra, as a Jain, if you know Adinath Bhagwan's Arg, you should be offering some Akshat. Akshat is nothing but rice, right? Fully unbroken rice. That's what we offer, right? That's what we call as akshat. Hai na? So that's offered at Bhagwan's, in front on the, in front of Bhagwan's idol, basically. And that is what, that time you should be reciting this Adinath Bhagwan Arg. Like my kids, they know this by heart. Like if I ask my son, who is now in 8th grade, but when he was even in 5th grade, or when he was even in, 3rd grade, he was knowing this, right? So it's very good practice to memorize the Arg of at least few Tirthankars. If you know Arg of 24 Tirthankars, that's awesome. But I think you should make an effort to memorize these arg, because when you go in front of Bhagwan Adinath's idol, right, Vivan, then you should be able to recite something. And if you recite an arg like Adinath Bhagwan's arg, that brings you a lot of good karma. है ना? So I would recommend that when next time, go through this video and then read through this arg and try to memorize it. Okay? So let's keep going. So this is for Adinath Bhagwan. Let's see next.
Let's understand the meaning of Adinath Bhagwan's Arg now. Offering the Ashtadravya with a happy heart, worshipping the Lord by dancing and clapping, I bow down on the lotus-like feet of Lord Adinath. Lord, may you end my world forever so that all my worldly sorrows go away. Jai Jinendra.
Got it? So same way there is an arg of Mahavir Bhagwan also. Like there are many again, as I said, but the one that we recite at our temple is अर्घ्य का क्या मूल्य है अनर्घ्य पद के सामने उस परम पद को पा लिया है हे जिनेंद्र आपने. Right? So that's how you recite these arg and basically offer your obeisance to Bhagwan. And every time when you go to temple and sit in puja, you will hear these arg, right? And that is the best way of doing puja, remembering the args and offering them. Okay, so who is going to take a niyam today to at least memorize one arg and come prepared next time? Raise your hands. I see Vikyat, you have to raise hand if you are doing it, okay? No excuses then. Because you raise your hand first and then you think. Don't raise your hand before thinking, okay? Are you sure about it, Vikyat?
Yeah, because I've never really found the time to recite even one.
I
And
don't want excuses. If you are raising your hand, it's your niyam. Hai na?
Yes, my niyam. I'm not giving an
Try to do
excuse.
one
I'm
but
saying a
no
reason.
niyam.
Hi, Maulik, what's going on?
Can I try to
Okay.
do one but no niyam?
Should I put my hand down now?
Yes, you.
Okay.
Yes, Maulik, go ahead.
Should I do one but no niyam? Like
Okay.
I'll just learn it, but
Okay, I trust you. I trust you. So why don't you learn one and come prepared? Who else? Who else is going to memorize one arg and come prepared next time? Just two sporty guys? Nobody else? How about
Sporty?
you? Some sports person spirit is what I'm looking for. Who is going to take the challenge? Okay, I'll recite one. Okay, for Mahavir Bhagwan. I didn't complete it. इस अर्घ का क्या मूल्य है अनर्घ्य पद के सामने, सो परम पद को पा लिया है पतित पावन आपने. संतप्त मानस शांत हो जिनके गुणों के गान से, वे वर्धमान महान जिन विचरे हमारे ध्यान में. ओम रीम अनर्घ्य पद प्राप्त है महावीर जिनेन्द्राय अर्घ्यम निर्वपामति स्वाहा. Right, so that's an argya for Mahavir Bhagwan, but there are many others. I want you to memorize one of one Bhagwan or more, that's your choice. But there is an argya of 24 Bhagwan also, which is like all 24 taken together. You can even memorize that. You will find it in most of our puja books. Aviral, how about you? Do you want to give it an attempt?
Yeah. I know a couple, but I can try a new one.
Okay, that's great. If you know some, try to memorize one more and come prepared next time. Okay. So three guys I'm looking forward to: Vikyat, Aviral, and Maulik. How about you, Kavya, Vivan, Samyak?
I don't have time to do it.
You don't have time? You always have time. You have to find time. What are you preparing for? Ivy League SAT exams?
I have some swimming on the hand, so I have to
Okay.
go
So you
around.
swim. How many hours do you swim every day?
3.
3 hours every day? Okay, you swim hard then. What are you trying to cross? English Channel?
What?
Are you wanting to cross the English Channel?
How's
Swimming?
crossing the English Channel possible while just swimming?
Oh, there are many folks who have done that, Vikhyat. So, Vivan, what's
Yeah.
your goal? What's your goal learning, doing so much of swimming?
Trying to get states.
Trying to get what? Sorry, I didn't catch you.
States. Something in swimming.
Oh, you want to get to the state level? Okay, that's a good goal to have. Nice. Okay, but you can always find time,
I'll
right?
see.
Okay. How about you, Kavya? What's on your mind? You don't want to use your brain?
I don't
You-
have time.
Have it?
I don't have time.
You also don't have time. Time is such a scarce resource, it looks like. What do you
Time
do
is
on the
everything.
day?
There's a saying, time is money.
Oh, yeah, Vikyat, I want you to go on mute. I'm trying to have a conversation with Kavya.
Yeah, but there's a
Kavya?
saying,
I know
time
the
is.
saying. Vikyat, can I have a conversation with
Yeah,
Kavya?
you can, sorry.
Huh, beta? Kavya?
Yeah.
You should try. You will find a Jain Puja book. It's also available online, right? It's a matter of few minutes. If you put your heart in it, you could probably memorize it in 5 minutes. You don't need more than 5 minutes. 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there. One time to memorize it, the next time to recite it, to harden it, and that's about it. Hannah? And never think you don't have time, because if you don't have time even to memorize a arg, how would you find time later to follow Jainism? You will always have this excuse, right? Oh, I don't have time, right? That's such an excuse, isn't it? If you really are motivated, you will find time, right, Vivan? If you have found time for 3 hours of swimming, you can. Otherwise, how would you, when you grow up and you have to, let's say, do 15 different things, right? To stay relevant, how would you do that? Isn't it? Check with your elders how many different things they have to do to get into a good college.
I don't know.
You have to find it, right? So don't make excuses. If you make excuses, then you will never learn anything in life. Hai? So make an honest attempt. And if you are not able to memorize, that's okay. It's okay. But at least give it a chance. Give it a thought. Hai? Otherwise, what would happen is you will always have this, I don't have time. I'll not do. You always have time to watch videos or play video game, or maybe do certain activities on the iPhone. You always have time, right? If you Google about a Jain Arg or Jain Puja, you'll find the Args also on Google. It's just matter of using your curiosity in the right direction. Okay, so Kavya, I'm looking. I know you can learn it. It's just a matter of putting your heart there. Okay. Next time I'll ask. If you make an honest attempt, that's good enough for me. But at least give it a chance. Give it a try. Okay? Don't just make that's like a lost soul. And I don't have time. Such an excuse. Right? Like Vikhyat is such a awesome guy. He thinks later, he raises his hands first, which is kind of cool. Right? He didn't give me that excuse, I don't have time. I'm sure he's also doing 15 different things. Right? Samyak, how
I mean,
about you?
I have like 10 times the spare time of probably lots of people.
Oh, of course. How about you, Samyak?
I'll try to do the ARG when I get time. Maybe like before going to sleep.
Okay, perfect. Good. Or best time I would recommend, if you want to memorize something, be it math, science, or any other concept which you are thinking is hard enough, the best time to memorize them is morning hours. Because once after you have got good night's sleep, when you wake up, your brain is very receptive for new knowledge and information.
Mhm.
And you don't have to put that much of effort. It goes in like this. You would be surprised with the power of your brain in the morning hours. So give it a try. Excuse me. When you get up, give it a try. Molly, go ahead.
Is it okay to actually learn the erg while you're eating? Because if I'm
No.
not eating, I'm busy. That's the
No,
thing.
no,
In the morning.
no.
I mean, I can do it in the evening.
Then you do it in evening, but don't do it when you are eating. That's not a good, it will not leave you with good vibes. Okay, it's about, see, you do argue because those giving, offering that obeisance to Bhagwan gives you good vibes. If you are eating and doing it, it's not a good way of learning. Hai na? Make sense? Okay, guys. So with that, we'll end the session today. I have Ishna here. Ishna, you want to recite the part? ज्ञान से सूझे लोकाल जो वाणी मस्तक धरूं दिल सदा धो हे जिनवाणी तो है जप मैं तेरी शरणों में सुख चैन. Jai Jinan to all. And by the way, my daughter Ishna is a 5th grader. She recited this part. She has remembered this by heart. Okay. She also has to go through many classes, jump through many things, but she put her heart and learned it and memorized it. She was not reciting it from a book, right? So if she can do it, I know all of you are way more intelligent and you can do enough. Hai. It's just about finding the time, first convincing yourself that you have time to remember it and then memorizing it. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Okay, beta. Jai Jinendra. I hope you have a great week ahead and see you all next weekend, next Sunday. Until then, Uttam Shama, Michhami Dukram.
तुम
Jai
क्षमा
Jain.
Jai Jinendra, beta.
Oh, sure. Bye, Jai Jinan.